morning. I'm Margot Lipschultz. I'm a senior editor with Harlequin Teen, and I'm here with special guest Jennifer L. Armentrout, author of the Dark Element series for Harlequin Teen, and we are live from Book Expo America 2014, here to talk more about Jennifer's series, The Dark Elements. So Jennifer, I'm going to start with a question that a lot of people have been asking you, which is, The Dark Elements tells the story of Layla, who is a teenage girl who is half demon and half gargoyle or warden in a world where demons and gargoyles are mortal enemies. Mm-hmm. So the question a lot of people have been curious about is, what made you decide to write about gargoyles?
When I was growing up, one of my favorite cartoons on television was Gargoyles. Mm-hmm. Very creative name there. Mm-hmm. But I loved that cartoon. I think it was only on for like one season, and it was something that I always remembered as I got older. And I think gargoyles is one of the paranormal or mythical creatures that are not really explored a lot in YA especially, or in actually adult. Also, one of the most interesting things I found about the whole knowledge of gargoyles is that society really misunderstands what the statues were created for. They were never created as something evil. They were actually created to ward against evil, or to remind humans of evil being present. So they actually were wardens against evil. So I thought it was very interesting how we kind of make the assumption, because of their appearance, we assume they were evil, when in reality gargoyles were always seen as a guardian of mankind. So I wanted to kind of explore that.
I think your fans are very glad you did. Which brings me to my next question. When the first book in the Dark Elements, White Hot Kiss, went on sale from Harlequin Teen earlier this spring, one thing that a lot of fans instantly started doing was arguing about which of the two male heroes was their personal favorite and which one they wanted to see Layla end up with. So their choices were Roth, who is the demon prince who comes into Layla's life and starts telling her not to believe everything she's heard about demons, or Zane, who is the surrogate older brother figure that Layla has been raised with, and he's a warden who's very kind of concerned about protecting Layla from demons and from the dark elements in their world. And he has been her unrequited crush for basically her entire life. So people instantly started arguing about whether they were Team Zane or Team Roth. And I think the question a lot of people want to know from you is, did you have a preference between the two of them as you were writing the book, or as you're writing the other books in the series?
That's a really good question. As I was writing White Hot Kiss and Stone Cold Touch, I kind of went back and forth on the guys. I think each of them have their own appeal, and they have their pros and cons, and it makes it really hard to decide. Zane kind of represents the unrequited love, and which I think is something a lot of girls can relate to and guys can relate to. And Roth represents the bad boy. So I kind of flip-flop back and forth. So it's hard for me to really say 100% who I would like more.
Well, I think your readers are just going to have to keep reading to find out who Layla actually does end up with. Next question is Stone Cold Touch, which is book 2 of the series. Fans are already clamoring for the release of that, which will be end of October of this year. Without giving us any spoilers, can you give your readers a sense of what to expect Layla to encounter in Stone Cold Touch?
Layla is definitely going to encounter more of her, what is her nature, like what is truly what she is. Is she more demon or more warden, gargoyle? She's going to face some really hard situations. A lot of things are happening from the start of the book, and she has to come to terms really with what she is, or what people think she is. She also, has to really, everything that happened with Roth and White Hot Kiss. I mean, this is not a spoiler. It's in the back jacket. Roth does come back. It's on the synopsis, so it's not spoiling anything. And she also is going to be dealing with Zane, who now realizes that, there's competition in the neighborhood. So she's got to kind of deal with the guys. But there's not a lot to say without being too spoilery. But there's definitely a lot of stuff happening. And you also get to see more of Jasmine and Dex from Bittersweet Love, the prequel. So a lot of people, I think, are going to be excited about seeing them two back again.
Definitely. I think readers can't get enough of them. All right, next question is a little bit more general. You also, in addition to writing paranormal young adult, write contemporary new adult about college-age characters, and also young adult contemporary thrillers with more of a suspense and action element in them. Is your writing process different for the different genres you're writing in?
Not really. The one thing I do is I never cross the books over. So I don't work on like one book in the morning and then work on another book in the afternoon. I envy authors that can do that. I can't. My writing process is the same. I do like to write a paranormal and then write a contemporary and then write a paranormal because it kind of cleanses the palette after each of them. And then by the time I'm done with a contemporary, I'm ready for a paranormal. And because I want to throw a dragon into the middle of a new adult contemporary. So it helps me, I think, not get burned out on one genre and writing one thing over and over again. So I kind of like do back and forth on them.
Definitely makes sense. Well, I think your readers are glad to have so much variety to choose from. So back to the dark elements. In White Hot Kiss, the first book, and in Stone Cold Touch, Layla's afraid that she can't kiss anybody without sucking the soul out of them. So that's just one of the many powers and abilities she has that are both her gift and also her curse and her challenge. So as you were coming up with the idea for this series, how did you decide which abilities you wanted to give to Layla and which challenges you wanted her to go through?
I wanted Layla to be a strong character, but I also wanted her to be vulnerable because I think sometimes, when we have female characters, there's that fine line you walk between them being too vulnerable and too strong that it's no longer realistic to what's happening. So I wanted her definitely to have the weakness, that she can't always talk her way out of a situation or fight her way out of the situation. She needs to learn when to accept help. And I think that's very important for anybody is that so there are many times, even though we're dealing in a paranormal world that's not real, that there are times where you have to accept help from people. And I think with Layla's character, I wanted to give her physical strength, but also she has a limit. She's not like with the other wardens, the full-blooded wardens, their skin is almost like shell, like rock. When they shift, she has a hard time shifting because she's mixed. She can't shift as easily as the rest of them can. And also with the soul sucking, it really is it's a huge power to have. I mean, ultimately, if somebody gets too close to you, that's it. You can take them out in 5 seconds. But I feel like I'm going to quote Spider-Man in here in a second. But what is it? Be careful with what you do with the power. Because you can't just wield that whenever you want. Mm-hmm. So, and it is a curse because it prohibits her from having relationships for the most part. Mm-hmm. So,
well, that was all the questions I think we had time for, but thanks so much for sitting down with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And I can't wait for readers to experience Stone Cold Touch
Me too.
when it goes on sale.
Thank you.